Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Tim and Jim Show. I am Tim Sohn with Sohn Social Media Solutions, hanging out in the woods here in Pennsylvania, and I'm so excited to be here with Jim, my trusty co-host and friend over here by the brick wall.
Well, it's good to see you, Tim. I always have to remember which way to turn depending on which side of the thing you are. But yeah, no, I'm very excited to be here today. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, where unlike some places, we actually have been getting rain. So sorry for all those folks that are going through drought and fires and hoping that they will find relief. I know Deb is from Napa Valley, I think, right? Deb,
yeah, hi guys.
She's in my one of my favorite areas of the country, but she never sends me wine. We'll have to talk about that later, Deb.
Sorry about that.
But I got to meet Deb initially in person at Social Media Marketing World in 2000. I want to say 19, and she was my boss on the connections crew, and she did an amazing job running the team, and it's a lot of fun. In fact, I recruited Tim to do that the following year, and so Tim is now officially a blue shirter as well. But we're here to talk today with Deb Mitchell about community, and you may have seen some of the stuff we put in the pre-show stuff, but Deb is definitely a community guru. I know some people don't like that word, but she is. She works for Agora Pulse, helps build a huge community there. And Deb, it's so exciting to have you here today. And anything I missed that you want to add, because you got so many things going on.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I'm pretty excited to be able to chat with you guys. It's funny how over time the circle comes back around, and here we are. I was not part of the blue shirt crew this past time because although I would really want to be, because my heart is there with everybody at Social Media Marketing World, but I got hired to be the community manager for Agora Pulse. And so a little conflict. And I actually work the Agora Pulse booth at Social Media Marketing World. So I'm looking forward to this next coming year. Hopefully we'll all be back and things will be returning to normal. Yes. But thanks for the opportunity to sort of just chat about what I'm doing. I started in community when I started a scrapbook website back in the days before social media, before blogs. The way the craft industry worked is they had this huge trade show that happened once a year and a smaller one that happened midway through the year. And so I got the opportunity to go, and I realized that the only people covering the show were magazines. And so they, all these manufacturers are there unveiling their new products. And of course, the consumers all want to see what they are. The store owners want to see what they are. And the only way that if you weren't at the show to see it was to wait for the cycle of a magazine to come around to see. And I got the crazy idea of getting a press pass. I was the first one in the entire world to get a press pass. I would go to the show with my press pass. I would go into booths and I'd talk to the people at the company, and I'd take photos of all their new products, and I'd stay up all night long and upload it to the internet. And I broke the internet a few times because so many people were coming to see all the new product. And so I was known for that. And it was crazy. People would send me free product all the time to try to get me to talk about it at Scrap Talk. The sad thing is that as much as I loved that, I never figured out exactly how to monetize it, because that was before people did that on the internet. And I was I had to get it, I just couldn't do it. And eventually scrapbooking, as all crafts, they kind of go in a cycle of popularity. And you can see that when you go to Michael's, as whatever's up front, that's what's popular. Scrapbooking, not so popular anymore. So Sadly, I had to retire that site. I went on from that, and then I got involved with Social Media Marketing World and helping them as the networking coordinator and managing their community, and now have gone on to work for Agora Pulse, doing their community. And I'm also helping other people that have businesses and memberships and courses that want to grow their community with a new thing called Membership Wow. And so I actually just launched a membership this week to help those people, called Community Builder Paradise. So I'm pretty excited. So I can't wait to get into it with you guys.
That is very exciting, and I've got that, and we'll share it throughout the show because I know Deb, you've got a deal going on. We'll talk about that more later. But yeah, community is so important, and you have done an amazing job. I know Tim and I think are both a part of the Agora Pulse community and
Mhm.
do a fantastic job, with all these, digital agency owners learning how to use the product and just really feeling like it's a family. And I really appreciate that. So, Tim, are you ready to start with question number one?
I would love to do that. But first, I just want to thank everyone who's being here. Again, Kenneth Dunner is here. He says, Tim Stone, savor the flavor of the awesomeness in you, sir, for sharing your delectable goodness with us today. Thank you for being here, Kenneth. And Linda and Trevor. Linda Ray and Trevor are here. Hi, guys.
Awesome.
Hi,
And
guys.
Avel is here. Thank you so much for being here. But yeah, Jim, let's roll with question number one for Deb.
All right.
So, Deb, why is it important anyway for businesses to build a community?
Well, I mean, we can answer that like a million different ways of why I think that's important. And but let's say I think that building a community they're like your super fans. Like I love what Pat Flynn says about the whole super fan thing. And I think a community is an opportunity for you to get those people. So it's those are the people that are there to support your business. Like we just went through the pandemic, right?
Yes.
I'm sure, like for me, I was trying to go to my favorite local places to get takeout as often as I could because I didn't want them to go away. I love them. I love being able to go to the, my favorite Italian place in Napa, and I wanted them to survive. And so, like, I'm part of their community. So it starts with as simple as that for a business. It's the people that you're buying for, like clothing store, like a local clothing store. Those are, those women or those guys that come in and they're the ones that are buying the clothes, and the type of clothes that are popular. They come in weekly. You send an email and say you've got something new, and next thing you know, they're flocking in there to get the latest thing. Those are your community. That starts on a like local level, and many of us think of community as like where you live. And that's a good way to think of community. But for businesses, like mid-sized to bigger businesses, it's the people that are buying your products. It's the people that are asking the questions. And it's the people that are, like for the case of Agora Pulse, I mean, we have an amazing community of people that love our product and sing the praises on it all the time. So, that's what you want. It's like you want this army of people that love your thing, or say they don't love your thing but yet they love you and they love your business and they give you your feedback to tell you why they don't love your thing. So, it's not just them going out and shouting that you're so fabulous. It's right. That two-way conversation that you get back and forth. We're providing resources to these agencies, and the agencies are providing us product feedback that, oh, by the way, the Canva integration that you just did with Agora Pulse, we love that, but it only does squares. We want more than squares. Okay, well then great. It's kind of cool at Agora Pulse. We have a kind of a VIP community just for our agencies. We have a couple other communities also, but this one is just for agencies. And the cool thing is that everybody's vetted before they come into it, in that they're a customer and that they're an agency. So we can ask very specific agency type questions. And in this case of the Canva integration, we were able to, once I realized that, oh, we want more than squares, I went to product and said, they want more than squares. And next thing I knew, we did a poll, ran the poll, got the most popular sizes. And then next thing you know, products coming out with those sizes. So it's that opportunity, I think. So that's a long answer, I know. So.
Well, but you bring up a very important point, right? It's a community. It's not a broadcast center, right? If you don't take that feedback from the community and allow people to have a conversation, that's not really a community. I think that and that's something you hit on it, right? Or even taking a part of that community, maybe the more active part, and even making them have a way for them to be more involved. I know, we were talking a little bit before the show even about StreamYard, right? There's a StreamYard community, but Tim and I are also part of the StreamYard VIP community, which is a smaller group. And so I think, to your point, Deb, I mean, that's where, and I think the challenge sometimes for us as small businesses is, can I manage this extra thing on top of what I'm doing day to day?
Well, that's like the approach that you take. I'm sure we're all in a lot of communities where there is content and programming that's directed to that community. And the point of it is to entertain or to educate or, to make it fun. Not all communities have to be like that. For example, the Agency Love, our agency community, I don't do programming per se that is like fun community type stuff that I would do in another group, because to me that group is about getting those important customers the information as quickly as possible. I keep it really business-like. Yeah, I'm putting our blog post in there. Yeah, we run live shows in there, but it's all resources for them. That's the place when we are going to announce something. I go there first, and we try to announce stuff in there before we announce it other places so they can prepare. So it's not necessarily like a hangout fun kind of thing. It's more of a business resource. So it's your approach. So that doesn't take a ton of time to have a resource like that. Everyone's super respectful in there. I don't have any problems with people commenting things, putting stuff in there that they shouldn't be in that community, because I think most people respect it as a business resource. But that's how we set it up. You know what I mean?
Right. Tim, what do you think? What have you seen as some of the challenges?
Some of the challenges with communities?
Yes.
I mean, every once in a while, depending on the community, you get people in your community, but this goes to the point that Deb was making about the importance of vetting people in your community, right? You might get someone that might not have the right vibe for your community or the right purpose for being there, right? So I've seen that as a challenge in the past.
Yeah. And Gail Robertson's making a comment. Community is so powerful. Blessed to be a part of a few amazing ones, and I can't tell you how much I learned from your show and guests. Well, thank you and for that, Gail. And Gail got off the, as I think she would call it, the stick last week, and she actually has her show now on LinkedIn, and I know she just did her first show. So Gail, I hope that's going to continue. And if you're looking for guests, I'm sure that all three of us would love to be on there.
Well, and can I just interject and say that that quote was, or that comment is a prime example of you guys building community, right? She's saying that she learns from you guys and the people that you bring on. That is a way to build community.
Yes, that's a great point, Deb. I mean, I think we forget about that sometimes, don't we, Tim? And I mean, we have built a page for our show, but I don't know. Maybe we'll have to do a poll. And should we start a Tim and Jim show Facebook group? What do you think, Tim?
But not all community equals a Facebook group. Though.
Okay.
So, I mean, that is a portion. Like, for example, for a year, we did something called Agency Chat, which is a Twitter chat. Or let's talk about Madeline Sklar's.
Yes.
Jim, you're deep in that community.
Twitter Smarter, yes.
Yeah, Twitter Smarter. And I mean, that's a huge community that has nothing to do with a Facebook group. If you hang there on, I think it's, what is it? Thursdays at
1. It was right before Agency Chat.
Yeah, Agency Chat is on hiatus at the moment. We're working on some other things, and hopefully it'll come back at some point. But at the moment, hiatus. But Madeline has a great community that all are on Twitter, and you guys have even had meetups, right?
Mm-hmm.
In-person meetups. So that's another way to bring community around. So I mean, it doesn't have to equal a Facebook group, is what I'm trying to say. It could be many other things.
Well, yeah, and I think maybe when I've seen, and to your point, right, groups can be different, but I think sometimes we look at how is it easiest to manage a group. But of course, I'm sure that's something that you'll be talking about in your upcoming membershipwow.com/paradise. So I make sure that people sign up. And I was not paid by Deb to say that. I just
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it.
So Deb, let's go to the next question, because this is, I think, kind of the meat of what you wanted to talk about today. And that is, what are the 5 M's of community management?
Okay, so when I started realizing that I had all these puzzle pieces that were fitting together and they were equaling community, I started realizing wow, that's pretty cool. Like when you look back in my history, going all the way back to, I think it was 1990. Let's see, 1999 was when Scrap Talk was around. And, as I look at the different pieces, it's crazy for me to realize I've been in the community business for a long time. And like, what is a theme that happens when you're trying to build community and manage a community, whether it's a Facebook group or Twitter chat or an in-person community? And I have 5 M's. And there's a download on membership wow.com if you want to go check that out, but I'm happy to like go over it with you. And one of them is mentor, another is mother, another is mixed drinks, another is mediation, and the last one is magic. Because those are the ingredients that you need to have in all good communities, I feel like.
Wow. The mixed drinks has me intrigued, but let's start with mentor.
Okay, so mentor, for many groups, people are there to learn something. So is it something that you can, like, for example, for Agorapulse, as a corporation and as a business, we can mentor the people that are in our groups by providing them with educational resources. Is it a guest that you can bring on? It's like, for example, StreamYard and their association with you guys and being a sponsor. Right now, we're educating people about community. And I know you've had a million other people on talking about all kinds of different things. That mentoring that you're giving is providing a resource to the community. So if you don't know it, go get a guest expert. So many people want to talk about what they know and they want to share what they know, just like I'm doing right now. It's also like mentoring is also leading people through the hard times and the hard things. So for example, during the pandemic, we were trying to, at Agorapulse, we were trying to provide resources that would help our agencies. So when I was coming up with Twitter chat topics, there were a fair amount of them that were like, how do you get more business? How do you keep the business you have? And I was bringing in experts to talk about that, and the community was all talking about that. So I feel like that's like mentoring the community.
Wow. What now when we talk about mother, that's another interesting one.
Okay, so mother, parent. Obviously, I'm going for the 5 M's, right? So I'm a mom, so I spent a lot of time mothering, and for me, that's about celebrating your members, encouraging the members and your community. It's pushing them when they need to be pushed. It's making people feel super special. It's like having a wins, like celebrating people's wins, asking them what their wins are, and then celebrating those, making them feel like someone cares. And being true about it, not being fake about it, but being honestly, like, as you get more people in the community, like Linda Ray's here, and she, has been on the Twitter chat for us week after week. She would show up, and, when she would, we would always kick it off with an icebreaker, and sometimes it was a wins type thing. And so we always celebrated those people. And I think that's important to do.
Very cool.
So see, you guys can mother too.
Yeah, but I do think though there's a lot to that. I mean, and then some people are putting in the comments nurturing, right? And I think that I think that's part of your success is you do a great job of nurturing community. And I think sometimes for some guys, like I'll say me, I think Tim does a better job. I have to think about that piece. So I think no, I think that's definitely a skill. I think it's a skill that can be learned.
Totally.
And, but you have to think about it because we don't always come from that mindset. Like I think sometimes I'm more focused on, okay, we got to get results, and I have to take a step back. Okay, well, wait a minute. We have to be a little bit more supportive and realize that everybody is in a different pace.
True. And that's where community is sometimes hard. It's hard to like point exact results from community building. And, that's a discussion I have on a regular basis at work about like, how am I getting at someone new to try Agorapulse? it's harder to, like add those numbers up and prove my worth in that sense. And so, but then you think about when you go to Disneyland, or Disney World, and you walk into there, and everything is organized and spotless, and you feel joy, and you feel at home, and you're excited to be there, and you can't wait to go and do the next thing. You can create that feeling in a community, and it's hard to like put a price on that, because as you're talking about having like this posse of people that love you, like it's hard to like quantify that.
Yep.
And
Tim, what
okay.
do you think?
What's that?
No, I was asking Tim what he thinks, because
Yeah.
because Tim, I think, like I said, Tim, I think does a great job in general with the whole aspect of we'll call it nurturing for you, Tim, since you're, I mean, but you definitely do I think a great job with that with our group.
Do you mean like engaging with people, like sending them messages and like commenting after the show and all that kind of thing too?
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it.
I love that part.
Yeah, I think that engagement, like if you guys weren't reading the comments that people are commenting on this broadcast, and we just ignored that, I mean, we can all see it because we're in StreamYard, so we can see the comments, so you can pull them in and you can comment back and forth with people. If you just totally ignored them, over time, people wouldn't bother to comment, right? And that's like squashing in the community versus, embracing the community. So I think you're right. The engagement, Tim, is super important. I'm adding that to my list.
And Nancy has a great point there. She said community is give and take. It's not enough to just gather community. It's a living organism. And Nancy has her own show called Connected Human Conversations on Sundays at 8:00 Eastern time on her own LinkedIn channel. She just finally got LinkedIn Live on her own channel recently. So she has her show over there. So I encourage you guys to check that out as well.
Nice. And Janet's got another great comment as well. For many, community meets the needs of family that may not be met otherwise. And I think probably, the last year plus has been a great example of how community has been so important in so many aspects and ways for people as well.
Totally. I agree. It's made, I think that and technology have made it possible for us to made it a lot easier to build like an international type community.
Right. And so of course I've been waiting for this third M because of
my mixed drinks one.
Mixed drinks, yes.
Okay, so I said that community doesn't have to be fun. It can be serious and it can be a business resource, but it can also be lots of fun. And so that's where the mixed drinks come in, because I think like you go to a conference and the conference is great. You're getting all these resources, but what is everyone really looking forward to? Oh, meeting at the bar or at a restaurant and having a couple drinks together, hanging out, even if you don't drink. So for me, this is a major part of building community. And that's one of the things that, I created Membership Wow around, was because having a community that's just a dud, no one wants to be there unless it's acting as a business resource. Okay. That's I'm going to set that aside and let's talk about people that are building community that's meant to be fun. It's creating fun. It's contests. It's doing challenges. It's doing shout outs. This overlaps with the wins. It's really where the opportunity where you get to love on all of your super fans that are in your community. It's swag. I think Agorapulse has done a really great job of branding our swag, and people. It's highly desirable. It's hard to get. Facebook. I'm a Facebook power admin, and that's something that you have to apply to be. And they are growing that group, but we basically have a direct contact at Facebook about groups who comes to this group, and they tell us things before things happen. They ask for advice. They ask our opinions. We get to help each other as we all are trying to build community. But the swag thing, everyone's dying for swag. And so, and it's hard to get. So, like adding that mixed drinks feature in, it's making the group enjoyable. It's making you being like, I know some people that don't go to Facebook and just scroll through the feed. They've got the specific groups that they like bookmarked, and they go to their bookmarks and okay, let me jump in, Agora Pulse Agency Love, see what's happening there. If there's anything important happening, let me go over here to StreamYard, see what's happening there. Let me go over in this, is it a group that's based on your hobby? Is it a sewing group? Is it a wine food group? Whatever it is that you're loving, go in that group. Is the reason why they're going there is because they enjoy the topic, and you've got to make it fun. And these are the opportunities where you're seeing people do in-person meetups. Like I think there's a lot of opportunity for example, what Social Media Examiner did with Social Media Marketing World. We ran their community on Slack for a couple of years, and then ran into problems with Slack. And of course, Facebook groups also took off. So then one year Jim, I think you were involved in this year, we had 19 different Facebook groups, which was absolute chaos, right? I can claim that, well, and it's a very short window, right? It's basically from probably like January to March or April, depending on when the conference is that year. But like that's intense to have that many groups. But people wanted to hang out and they wanted to have fun. They want to build up the hype before the event. So when they got to the event, they knew their people, because people want to find their people. That's one of the things about community. So that's my mixed drinks.
Yeah.
Are you disappointed, Jim?
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. But even from an aspect of even fun right now, you could do a Zoom or even, I guess, Facebook Rooms meetup, and everybody could have an adult beverage and have fun and that sort of thing. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And I would say too, to your point, a lot of times, and for those of you thinking about going to Social Media Marketing World in 2022, some of the best events are the after hours networking. Actually, I think probably one of the biggest ones, Deb, is the day before it starts and the night that it ends.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, which are kind of like more like secret. They're not secret because they're just not official.
They're not advertised.
They're not advertised. But if you're buying an airplane ticket, do not go in the day before. Go in the day before the day before. Because one, you're going to San Diego and you want to see get some San Diego. But then that meetup the night before is lots of fun. So, and that happens across all the different, conferences, and you have that opportunity to take the community that you've built online, especially now as things are opening up more and people are traveling more and people are getting together more. That's how you could take the community to the next level. I mean, Jim and I were on this call together, but we've met in person, and that makes a difference, I think.
It does. And I think that, in fact, I would almost tell you, I mean, and Tim and I will be going to Social Media Week Lima next month in Lima, Ohio. I always want to say Lima because my mom's from Lima, Peru. But I will tell you, one of the amazing things that Jessica Phillips does, not only building a community, and it's there's it's like 300 folks about that'll be there, but it is the networking and the fact that you get to talk with people one-on-one after the day's event. And I think that, almost I've been to a couple conferences, and I won't name names, that sure, there's a lot of great content, but they didn't really give you that networking piece in the evening. And I'm like, I really didn't like that, because it's like, it's hard to, like if you were sitting next to me and somebody's talking, it's hard for me to like sit there and talk to you and get to know you and find out what we have in common. So I think that networking, that mixed drinks is important.
Yeah. All for the mixed drinks, even if you don't drink.
Right.
It's good.
Right. So what about mediation?
Okay. Well, this is probably one of the worst parts of the whole community building thing, right? And you're just praying that you bring together a group of people that can that like are good with each other and that behave themselves and don't go crazy. So, but that's really hard when you bring different groups of people together that different personalities, have different opinions, and some of them clash. And, so there's some of that like infighting that might happen in a group, or, people don't follow the rules the right way, or, they're self-promoting too much in a group, or they just are clueless, like socially. I mean, there are norms. Like if we were to meet in person, like you don't come right up and stand right up on top of me, right? Or like you don't like get right in my face. There is that distance that people like. And the same thing happens in groups. And so I think mediation is not something that you're running around going, I'm mediating, you know, we're the mediation team or anything, but that's why there are community managers. That's why there are moderators that help. Some of these really large groups, they have teams of moderators. Facebook is really working super hard right now in creating all kinds of upcoming moderation tools to help with that. And I see Linda's calling it babysitting, and that's another good word. I'm adding that to my list for mediation. But it's like smoothing the feathers over. It's developing the group culture. It's being willing to set the rules and apply those rules to everybody. It's establishing the group norms. What's okay to do? Is it okay to live stream a video directly into the group? Yes or no? Is it okay to make a post and then put the link in the comments instead of like being so advertising? Or is it okay, or is the rule that you can put your thing in if someone asks you, like you can talk about your thing, but you can't put the link. But if somebody asks you for the link, you can put the link in. You know, like what is the culture of the group? And so that's what I call it, mediation. I mean, there's good to it and there's bad to it, right? There's sometimes where there's some groups I'm in that I'm not scared to just block and delete the people straight out of the group with like no warning. I don't care. They're gone. Then there's other groups that, you know, like I have a couple groups that I have never had to mediate anybody or deal with any issues because they are respecting the space. It's about the culture you set up, I think. And it's important for you to think about that as you go forward.
Yeah, because I think it can really get worse as the group gets bigger. And I've seen in a couple of cases, you know, several months back when some things happened involving, like, say, things going on in our society where people were trying to bring that conversation into groups. And in some cases, it created almost like a split because some people like, oh, well, if you're not going to let us talk about the outside world in the group, then, you know, what kind of person are you? And then on the other hand, people's like, look, I don't want this stuff in my group. This group is like my safe space. I just want to talk about the topic of the group. And so that's another, you know, one of those challenges that you can run into.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, there's no real good answer. Like, because if you let that conversation happen and you let one person do something, the next thing you know, like I recently saw like in one of the Facebook admin group, and they're like, we've got somebody that constantly posts about lost animals in our community group. This is not a lost animal group. We don't want it to be a lost animal group. We want to be kind to them and let them have a space to be able to do that. But she's not following the rules. What do we do? Okay, so there's a way to mediate that. And my suggestion is make a Zoom video and show exactly how you want the posts to be constructed. Like give her a spot in there where she could just keep putting her stuff in instead of trying to spread it everywhere. Just try to keep it organized and explain to her why you want it that way. And ultimately, if she doesn't want to do it, then you have the opportunity to kick them out of the group. I mean, that's the extreme measure, right? You don't necessarily want to be that because we have all seen some big things blow up over the past year where people didn't address it the right way. So it's a challenge, definitely.
And Deb, that actually too reminds me, since we're talking about mediation, I guess in some cases, and this is probably specifically Facebook, maybe a little bit LinkedIn, but of course, I think you and I both know LinkedIn needs to work on their groups feature.
Yeah.
Public versus private. Kind of, do you see some pros and cons as far as the mediation piece?
I mean, and I think we should throw group size in there also because, you know, obviously things can be looser in a smaller group than some of these massive groups. And I don't know. There's reasons to do it both ways. I don't come out one way or the other on that. It depends. It really comes down to the individual case. I mean, I think some of the things that Facebook's doing right now where, you know, they're letting, where the way they're running public groups takes away some of the weight of having to admin a group. By just letting people come into the group and then when they want to comment, approving them in that case. but then that takes away some of like the safe space of people to be able to talk about things. So I think it's a challenge, and I think it's going to be an evolving thing.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I know I'm in an Amazon creators group, and it's public, and so sometimes it seems like we get people in there that, a little bit to John's comments, like they're being a little bit self-promotional, and so then the challenge on the admin as the group grows is being able to manage all that stuff as well. So let's go to the final M, and that is magic.
Yes. Okay, that and John's comment like kind of leads into that. It's the behind the scenes stuff. It's how do you keep it organized? Like when we did social media marketing world, all these groups, we did 19 groups one year, and then that was like my notifications were like, I couldn't even use my phone basically, right? So the next year we did one group, which was better. But we have all these people that want to talk about all these different things, and all, it's like totally chaos in there, right? So Fiona Lucas and I came up with the idea of creating these things called chat spots, which basically made some graphics that were like, if you want to talk about nonprofits, come to this spot. If you want to come here, want to talk about sports, come here. If you want to talk about where you're going to drink afterwards, talk about it here. We tried to, behind the scenes, like organize it, because I think communities need, like, if you look at a community that you live in, there are road signs, there's roads, there's structure, there's rules. The same thing should be with online community building, is like there should be some structure. Now, Facebook has given us some of that if we're talking about a Facebook group, but still it's kind of limiting, the guides/units thing, that helps. And people are more used to that now. But initially people were like, what do I do? How do I do that? I'm loving how Facebook, I don't know if you guys have seen this in your groups yet. And maybe it's just pages. I think it's groups too, though. They've changed how the announcements are laid out. And so now it's like a carousel so that you can tell that there's more announcements and you can scroll through that. That's just rolling out right now. So that's a new thing that I'm loving. So the magic is, how you have it, the behind the scenes. It's keeping things fresh in your group, and your community. This goes on Facebook. This goes on Twitter chats. It goes on anywhere where you're building community. Yes, there should be a group rules. Yes, there should be community norms of what's okay to do and what's not okay. But mix it up. Keep it fresh so people want to keep coming back. It's not the same thing. It's also about many people want accountability. So how can you bring accountability into your community? And by doing that and letting people transform in some way, whether it's what they're learning or it's the journey they're on, like if it's a health journey, letting them celebrate, that the different milestones, that kind of thing in there. It's what I've been talking about and realized that one of my passions is it's creating a wow. It's like how do you make it exciting? And it's different for every group and every community. It's you can't just take a formula and say do this. There's got to be some brainstorming that's involved in that. And so that's my magic, the 5 M's.
That is awesome. And so we're going to take a quick break and get a word from our sponsor, StreamYard, and we'll be back with our final question of today's show for Deb.
And Jim doing Jim. So go Jim. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tim and Jim Show. We're here with Deb Mitchell talking about the 5 M's of community management. Jim, where do we go from here?
This, I think, is a very important question, and we'll have you ask it, Tim.
Yeah. So, Deb, what are some of your favorite tools for managing community?
Okay, well, I think it's pretty obvious of what I'm going to say, right? I work for AgoraPulse. I'm the community manager, so I got to give a shout out to AgoraPulse. And the way I use AgoraPulse for the groups, you can't unfortunately, because of the Facebook API, we can't manage Facebook group comments. But what we can do is we can schedule content into the group. And so I talked about that I wasn't creating entertaining content, but what instead I was doing is I'm trying to provide resources into some of these groups. And so what I do is I use Agorapulse and I put it in a queue, and the queue just cycles the content and schedules it right into multiple groups for me. It makes it super easy. So I love using that. Another tool that I'm loving is I think I mentioned that it's important to be organized and important to communicate to people what's going on. And so a tool like addevent.com, I love that. And what you do is you create a calendar. It creates a calendar essentially, and you can house it. They have like widgets and stuff that you can put on your website, and people can subscribe to it, and it appears as an extra calendar for you. Like for example, I use Google Calendar, so basically it's its own calendar link, or it's its own calendar that you could turn on and off on your Google Calendar. So if you're really into somebody's community, like for example, for you guys could have this, and you could schedule out who the upcoming guests are, and I could subscribe to your calendar, and it would appear on my calendar. And so, if I had an open time slot right now and I wasn't in a meeting or something, I could be listening to you guys, and it's another way to remind the community. So that's another favorite tool that I absolutely love.
I had not heard of that. Now, so can you also do that for things like upcoming live streams where you can
Totally.
have the link? Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
And if it's a subscription tool, and by having a subscription, you can have multiple calendars. So for you, because you've got this show, you've got the Amazon show, and I'm sure you do a few others, or you're a guest on other shows, I could subscribe to your calendar, and so I knew what Jim was doing, so I could follow you to all the places.
Ah, and what's that again? I'm going to put that. That's at
addevent.com.
Add event, like the word add, like a
ADD event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like if you're not in a spot to do a subscription, you can also make your own Google Calendar and do this. But the problem with that is sometimes those links work and sometimes they don't, and it's very annoying. And you don't want to give that annoying factor to people. So if you can spring for, I don't remember how much it is, and they've got a couple different levels, but if you could spring for it, it's worth springing for. But I did see now, this is hot off the presses. I haven't figured this out yet. I'm going to figure this out. I talked about this morning. I did a live this morning on my page, and I was like, I'm going to figure out how to do this. I'm going to share this in Membership Wow. But I saw somebody using Airtable. They had an Airtable link to do this, and that would be free, I think. And so I got to figure that out. So that's coming.
Wow.
But basically, you need a tool to like help people follow you, help them feel like they're part of the community.
Yeah, no, I think that yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out, and yeah, keep us posted on the Airtable. Now, those are two great tools. Are there any other tools that you just can't live without?
Well, I love Easel, and Easel, somewhat flies under the radar a lot, which I love, because then what's happening in Easel, not everyone else's stuff looks like Canva graphics, right? I mean, I hate to go someplace and I'm like, oh, I already used that template. That's the same thing I'm doing. But Easel is cool because they released, I can't remember, Annette's going to kill me. I know, we know Annette from Social Media Marketing World. She's going to kill me because I can't remember the name that they gave it. But essentially, this is what you can do. You can make a graphic, and you push this special button, and it takes the copy and it puts it on other sides graphics for you. So like in like a swoop, you can make your Facebook event graphics, you can make your Facebook post graphics, your Twitter graphics, all at the same time. And it's not like some of the tools that resize it. It's actually the copy moves. So I vote for Easel.
I love Easel. In fact, Easel's partially how we designed some of the graphics for the Tim and Jim show. Like this gradient is from Easel. Just they have some really good stuff.
They've really if you've got a live show, they've really embraced giving you templates for that. The other thing I could say about them is that if you Annette started the business originally as a design business and serving a lot of print clients. And so they still have a design team. So if you're looking for somebody to help you with your branding, she's great at that too. And she's branded some, like she just did Kim Garth's new branding. And her stuff I think looks really good.
That is awesome.
So those are my tools I'd recommend.
Awesome. Now, Deb, tell us a little bit more, and I'm going to share the link at the bottom. Tell us about your new project or your new baby, since you're mothering it. Coming up.
Okay, so I've been helping people with community, like we talked about, for a long time, and finally people are starting to say to me, Deb, why are you not doing anything about that? Like, why did you not? Like, for a long time I didn't love live video, and I refused to go live, and I got that straightened out. People have helped me through that, and I'm over that now. So I'm starting to realize that I've spent all these years working behind the scenes of people, and I have all this experience, and people were like, why are you not sharing that? I'm like, I don't know. So slowly I started to realize that community building and like I love the tribe community that Stu McLaren does. It's about building memberships. I love Amy Porterfield and what she does about courses. And it's so I'm like gathering people that have businesses that are trying to build a course or trying to build a membership to help them realize how they can build community, how to create wow in their community. And one of my superpowers is brainstorming. So part of the membership, we're going to have regular office hours where probably on Saturdays and probably in the evening one night or early in the morning. And what people will be able to do is they'll be able to come on and chat with me and the group that's there and brainstorm ideas for how to grow their membership or how to do something fun in their membership, how to do the mixed drinks thing, or if they're having a mediation problem, all those kind of things. And I'll be bringing my 25 years of marketing experience to the table. So I'm kind of excited. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and so folks, if you want to connect with Deb, I've got it in here as well, agorapulse.com, obviously, and then her new membership site. And then I guess Facebook is your favorite favorite
I hang out on Facebook mostly. Yeah. Yes. So you'll find me there. I've got a business page. I'd love to connect with you on Deb Mitchell and my personal page. So yeah, I love hanging out in groups. So you'll see me in a lot of groups too.
Yes. Awesome. And Tim, what do you got coming up as we wrap things up?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Jim. Starting next Monday, we start a new round of my Survive and Rise with Live Video 6-week course. So if you want to start your own live show, no matter what platform, it's a 6-week course, and we go through everything from how to become confident on live video to actually shaping what your show is going to look like, how to promote your show, the tech, and so much more. So if you're interested in that, you can go to bit.ly/survivewithlive. Excited about that. I've taught over 50 people since the pandemic started how to launch their own live show. So excited to continue that.
Very cool. And I'll be later today at about 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll be a guest along with Chris Stone talking about Twitter chats on Indie Author Chat hosted by Tim Lewis. And we'll be talking about Amazon Live. So if you want to learn about that, cool. come on over to Twitter. The water's fine. I think I love doing Twitter chats. And also next week on the 20th, Chris and I will be guests on Doc Rock's show talking about Amazon Live again. So you can tell I'm talking a lot about Amazon Live in my spare time. And we're still looking to confirm our guest for next week. We are talking with someone, but we haven't nailed it down yet. But if there's not a guest, there still will be a show, because Tim and I always have things that we can talk about with our amazing community here.
Don't worry.
Deb, this has been so much fun. You taught us so much, and I'm going to go have to check out your website before this is all over. And
I have a download. Everyone can go get the 5M download. It's on right at the top of the homepage. So come by and pick it up and put it on your wall so you remember the 5Ms. Thank you so much for having me. I love talking with you guys, and good to see everybody in the audience.
Thank you, Deb. It's great to have you. Tim, great to see you. Glad you're feeling better, and looking forward to seeing. Now, Deb, are you coming to Lima? Can we get you to Lima?
I think so, but I'm waiting for the final confirmation that I'm coming. I hope so. I'm dying to come. So it's on my, I'm hoping. I'm waiting on Mike Alton to give me the you're going or you're not going nod.
Tim, we'll have to message him and harass him. Will that help?
Yeah, Agorapulse is one of the sponsors, so I know that somebody will be there. I'm hoping it's going to be me though.
Very cool. Well, thanks again, everyone. We'll see you next week, and I hope everyone has a great rest of the week. And wherever you may be, hope things go better for you. And Tim, any final thoughts?
Just thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being an amazing part of this community here. And thank you, Deb. This has been an amazing show. And Jim.
Yep. Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye, guys.